Good morning. It is Wednesday, and I decided very last minute that I was going to vlog a little bit of my day today because I actually have some interesting things to do, or interesting thing, singular. But I am having a testing session with my volunteer for my diagnostic neuropsych class today. And so you can't see my desk. I'll show it to you in a second, but my desk is just covered in papers and testing materials because I am just trying to make sure before I head to campus that I have everything I'm gonna need. Since it's a volunteer, it's not like an official patient, like testing patient. We're using all like unofficial materials. So it's pretty much just a bunch of papers that I printed out of like copies of the testing material so that I'm not like using official materials for someone who like cannot use the report that I'm gonna write for actual like real life purposes. So all of the like papers are just scattered across my desk right now, and I actually have to leave my apartment in like 10 minutes. Like I said, I decided very last minute that I was gonna vlog all of this. I have to leave in like 10 minutes to head to campus just so that I have enough time to get other testing materials that I need. Like there are a couple of like physical testing materials that I'm gonna need, like cards and stuff. So what am I doing right now? What is this? Give me a second. I'm confused. Hold on. Oh, okay. I had so many papers. I lost track of what I was doing. Okay, I don't really know if I'm gonna do that, but it's there. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, a little bit more about the session itself. So it's gonna be the usual time. I scheduled for 3 hours. According to my professor, I should be able to get the entire battery done in this one session. These are all of the tests I have to run today. It is a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, maybe 16. It is a list of 15, maybe 16 if I feel like doing that last one, tests. And I'm supposed to be able to get all of them done, plus a clinical interview in 3 hours. So we'll see. I really am, I honestly really am hoping that I can get them done in these 3 hours and not have to schedule an additional testing session. Because I don't want to. I don't want to have multiple sessions. So let's hope that my professor is correct and one session is all I need. But I just finished going through all of the materials. When I get to campus, I'm gonna have to print some more stuff out, and just start getting things set up. And so I will come back after I'm all done. I'm tired. So I'm home. So the testing session that I did lasted almost exactly 3 hours. We went just a few minutes over. I was thankfully able to get everything done in one session, so I do not have to meet with her again. But I am exhausted from that session. She was really my testing volunteer. She was a trooper. I kept asking her if she wanted to take breaks, and she just kept saying no and like powering through. So I'm very, my brain was fried after that. But it went well. I did record the session. So I have to like get that sent over to my professor so that he can review it to make sure that I did everything correctly. I don't feel like I made any mistakes, but also whenever I'm in a testing session, I kind of go on autopilot. So I don't really monitor my own errors, if that makes sense. I do, but I don't. Like, I don't know. That's not making sense. I'm gonna stop talking about that. So the tests that I ran today were the first was the test of premorbid functioning. Then I did the CVLT. Then I did the, oh my gosh, I could really just get up and go get the list, but who's doing that? Not me. I did a few subtests from the waist, a couple subtests, one subtest from the WIMS, one subtest from the decafs. What else did I do? I'm just gonna put a list like right here somewhere on the screen, just because those are all of the tests that we have learned so far in my diagnostic neuropsych class. I almost said test. Those are all of the tests, the assessments we have learned in my diagnostic neuropsych class. And so I will probably talk a little bit more in depth about each one of those in my update video and kind of what that experience has been like so far, because there are some that I knew already, like the waist and the decafs, and then there are some that I just did for the first time today. And they're kind of interesting. So there's that. But yeah, after my assessment session, I just went back to my lab room and hung out until it was time for me to go to class. I had my clinical externship seminar tonight with the very handsome professor. And I feel like he knows that I have a crush on him, because the way that man like stares into my soul while we're in class, it makes me a little uncomfortable sometimes. Like there's something about him that knows he's handsome, and he knows that women probably find him very attractive. And yeah. Anyway, apart from that though, again, I just really love that class. I feel like I learned so much in that class. And tonight was one of those nights where I left feeling like I got a lot out of the class. So now that I'm home, I'm gonna go get ready for bed. Good morning. It's Tuesday. I'm tired. I am very, very tired. I'm at work, as you can see. And I kind of wish I was in my bed right now. So it's a little after 9:30. It's 9:34. Wow, my voice sounds weird. I'm just not realizing this is actually the first time I'm saying a single word since I woke up. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the day. Last semester, if you recall, I believe Wednesdays were my longest days last semester, or maybe it was Thursdays. No, it was Wednesdays, I think. This semester, Tuesdays are my longest days. And when I say long, I mean long. I get to work usually at 9:30, and then I work my shift, and then I have one class at 4, and then another class at 6. I leave my house at like 8, 8:45-ish, and I usually don't get home until like 8:45-ish. So full 12-hour day. And today I woke up with a slight headache, so I'm actually not really looking forward. I mean, I'm never looking forward to Tuesdays, to be quite honest. But today in particular, I am not anticipating it's gonna be a good day. No. I just spilled. As far as what work is gonna look like for me today, I'm only seeing 3 clients. I usually see 4, but I terminated with one of my clients last week. And the intake for the client that's going to be taking that spot isn't until next week. So I kind of have like a free hour at work today at the end of the day. But for at least part of that hour, I'm going to have a brief meeting with the psychiatrist that we have here on staff, to talk about a client that I have just recently begun seeing. And I can probably tell you a little bit more about that later. Not about the client, but just like about why I'm having that meeting. But I'm going to finish eating my breakfast and drinking my coffee before my first client gets here in like 20 minutes. And I'll be back a little bit later. So my work day is pretty much over. I'm just taking a quick break before I head to class. So now that I have a minute to talk, I can tell you a little bit more about what I've been working on. So one of my clients actually canceled today. They were not feeling well. So they called out sick. And so that meant that on top of the extra hour that I had at the end of my day, I had an extra hour in the middle of my day, which was nice. Unfortunately, as you saw, I spent that hour working on dissertation stuff. So I'm actually in the process of putting together my timeline for my dissertation, because if I don't put together a timeline, then I will continue to procrastinate on this. I meant to do a timeline a month and a half ago. Clearly didn't happen. And because I didn't put together a timeline, there was nothing holding me accountable to starting to work on my dissertation. So I'm putting together a timeline, and really what sparked this sudden urge of productivity, I now have someone else on my team helping me with my dissertation. I recently interviewed an undergrad student who reached out to the lab that I'm in, very interested in helping me with my research. So I interviewed her last week or the week before. Last week. Interviewed her last week, and she's like really excited to help me with my research. And I more than welcome any help that is offered to me. And so now that I have her on the team willing to help out, that is now someone else there to hold me accountable to making progress on this. So now that she's in the lab, I told her that I would reach back out to her in a couple of weeks with like things organized for us to collaborate. So in addition to putting together a timeline, I'm also trying to come up with like a system to help us with my lit reviews. Usually when I'm doing a lit review for something, it's pretty chaotic, but now that she's going to be helping me I need to put together an organization system of some sort. So that's also something that I have to do before I meet with her next. So yeah, I'm really bad at holding myself accountable to things, in case y'all haven't noticed at this point. I really don't know how I've made it so far in my educational journey. I feel like when it comes to due dates and deadlines, if I'm the only person who knows about them, there is a 95% chance that I will not make the deadline that I set for myself. So what else? Oh, so in my last free hour of the day, the original free hour that I mentioned earlier, I mentioned that I was going to have a call with the staff psychiatrist, and that is because I am actually kind of collaborating with her on this client's care in a way. It's a fairly new client. I've only seen them for a few sessions, but they are presenting with some symptoms of OCD, and that is something that I have not worked with yet in my clinical work. So I am very much admitting that I need support with that client, just so I can figure out how to best help them right now, because even though there's like obviously the other like typical things that I see, like anxiety and some depression going on, right now what's most distressing to this client is their symptoms of OCD. So I am collaborating with a psychiatrist just so we can get a better sense of what's going on and how to help them. And so in that conversation with the psychiatrist just now, we were just going over some things that I could do in my sessions with this client, in addition to things that they're going to be talking about in their sessions. And yeah, it's actually kind of an interesting experience because I've never had to, like, I mean, with my clients, obviously I have supervision, and so I go to supervision and I talk to my supervisors about like questions that I have and how I should work with clients, but I've never like directly collaborated with another health professional on someone's care. And so this is actually a pretty interesting experience for me. So yeah, I am going to get ready to go to class soon. So I'll be back later, probably when I'm home, to be quite honest, because I have back-to-back classes now. So we'll talk later. Okay, bye.
We're kind of doing something similar. The B value, the coefficient, is basically the R, the Pearson R, multiplied by the standard deviation of Y divided by standard deviation of X. This is another form of standard. And if you do the math and if you look at what is happening, if you plug it, so I'm going to plug this number in, 134.14, and then I'm going to say, this is the slope, 0.096, whatever, times the advertisement budget. So if I don't have any advertisement, I'm going to sell this many albums because this one is 0. And for each additional $1,000 that I spend on an advertising budget, I'm going to sell an extra 96 albums. Now, think about it. Think about just that data. I mean, obviously this data is not perfect or it's not. Whereas in a correlation, you can sort of get a sense of what is the degree, what is the strength of the relationship. You can look at this on your own because I'm probably going to do a terrible job of explaining it, but it's a very nice sort of accurate, nice way to demonstrate the difference between these two. So the blue line here is a Y equals 3X. This is the blue line.
Good morning. It's Friday. It's like 10:45. I have already done my usual Friday morning things. I went to the gym, took a shower, got dressed, ate breakfast. No grocery shopping today, so I kind of just been letting myself have a chill morning. But I have my lab meeting at 1 o'clock, and as y'all probably saw last week, I did my testing session with my volunteer from my class, and I have a lot of scoring to do that I have not started yet. So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna do that until my lab meeting, or at least until I can't score anymore. Some of the scoring I need the school computers for because there's like certain software that I have to use. So that I can't do, but all of the other like manual scoring stuff I can do here at home. So I'm probably gonna do that, and I'm thinking that while I'm doing that, I will kind of just talk through each of the tests that we have learned in class, some of which I learned last year, or last semester. Oh my god. But I figured I would just talk through some of them, tell y'all what they're like. Yeah. So we're gonna do that. Okay, so I decided to move to the floor, because as I was pulling everything out of my desk, I just realized that I just felt like I didn't have enough space. And also, I just kind of get tired of sitting at my desk. I don't want to sit on my couch. I don't want to sit on my bed. And it's a little too cold outside for me to reasonably enjoy sitting on my balcony. So my floor is the only option. So yeah, we're just gonna sit on my floor and score. And I'm just gonna talk to y'all while I do that. The ones that I can score manually and that my professor wants us to score manually for some reason, is what I'm gonna do now. I think the only ones that I can't score manually are the CPT. Actually, hold on. I think they sent a list of which ones we need the software for. Okay, so the only ones I can't score by hand right now are the CVLT, the NAB naming, and the Wisconsin, I think. Yeah, I think those are the only ones I can't score by hand today. So I'm gonna try to do most of the other ones. Probably still not gonna get to all of them because when I'm scoring, I go very slowly for some reason. It's really tedious. But yeah, so we're gonna start with the test of premorbid functioning. So, hold on. So what the test of premorbid functioning is essentially like it's a test that helps you get the individual's like baseline, essentially like baseline functioning. If nothing were ever wrong with them, where would they generally function? Cognitively, of course, not like actually function, but cognitively, where would they function? And the test of premorbid functioning, the ACS test of premorbid functioning, requires that they just read off a list of words that they should probably know, and their goal is just to pronounce it correctly. And so I have a list of words, front and back, and like typically you should be able to like score this as you go with the client, but my volunteer was reading the words so quickly that I kind of just gave up trying to score it in the moment. And because I knew that I was recording, I just was like, okay, I'll just go back to the recording afterwards and score then. And then wherever she was supposed to be cut off, I'll just stop scoring at that point, because technically you're supposed to discontinue this once they get 5 incorrect in a row. I don't think she hit that. Like, she got a few wrong, but I don't think she like hit 5 in a row. So that's pretty much why I didn't stop her in like the midst of it. I just let her finish the whole list. But yeah, so I'm gonna go back to the recording now, listen to it, and score. Okay, so this first one, I'm just gonna show you a list of words, and I'm just gonna ask that you read each word out loud, starting at number 1 and going down each column. So you get to the end. Once you get to that end right there, it's 36. I'm just gonna go on to the second page here again. And if you don't know how to pronounce the word, I just want you to try, okay? Even if you're like not sure. Are you ready? Sure. Okay, begin. 2, address, full, I, vengeance, net, the speeches, ambiguity, iridescent, over, homily, So like a note for this test, so next to the words on my scoring sheet, next to the words is like the phonetic spelling of the word that's supposed to help you know whether or not they're pronouncing it right. I don't really know how to read phonetic spellings. Like I kind of do a little bit, but there are some words that like if I have just never heard of them, the phonetic spelling is probably not gonna help me. And there are some words on this list that I've literally never heard of, like that one. So yeah, I just had to type that into Google real quick and make sure that I was saying it right in my head so that I could score her properly. So that word was homily. I have no idea what actually. It means a religious discourse that is intended primarily for spiritual edification rather than doctrinal instruction. A sermon. So there you go. Word of the day, homily. Onwards. So I just took a look at the CVLT, and even though I need the software to fully score it, there's at least a couple parts of it that I can score by hand. So I think I'm just gonna do that. And so that way when I get on campus and can get to the software, I can just plug in the numbers instead of having to do all of the scoring when I get there. So the CVLT is just a memory task, a word memorizing task. It's kind of complicated to explain, but just know that it's a word memory task. And we ask them to remember a list of words that we read to them 5 times. And the hopes is that the more that you repeat the list to them, the better their memory for the words gets. And then when you go back to it after a period of time and ask for the words again, long-term memory, or does that count as short-term memory if it's like 20 minutes? Either way, delayed memory of some kind should also be intact after 20 minutes, and you go back and ask them to repeat the list, or as many words from the list as they can remember. So that's what I'm gonna do now. It actually requires that I pay like really close attention, so probably not gonna talk through this. Actually almost forgot that I was recording. So I did the CVLT, at least the portions that I could do by hand. I also did the Ray Oster's figure, which is just, we asked them to copy a picture as they're looking at it. And that's supposed to get it like visual spatial processing and all of that. And then I actually just did the COWAT FAS and animal naming, which is just, the FAS is just asking them to name or list as many words that start with those letters as possible, like within a certain time frame. And that's supposed to get at like verbal fluency and, well, phonetic fluency, letter fluency, I think, or sound, whatever phonetic means. And then animal naming is just exactly what it is. We asked them to name as many animals as possible within a certain amount of time. And that's supposed to get at semantic fluency. So both of those factors combined add up to general verbal fluency. And for both of those, I actually also had to go back to the recording because I made a note on here that she was listing things so quickly that I couldn't keep up with her. And so I just wrote +1 whenever she said something that I didn't get a chance to write down. So I had to go back to the recording to make sure that I got everything so I could score it properly. So at this point, it's like 12:30. I started scoring at like 11. So I've been doing this for like an hour and a half now. I'm kind of tired. So I think I'm gonna take a quick 30-minute break before my lab meeting, and then if I feel like it, I'll probably come back to this after the lab meeting, or I'll just enjoy the rest of my Friday. So we'll see. I'll be back. Hello. So I just got out of my lab meeting and completely forgot to record anything because we ended up having like a really super engaging conversation about race and racism and racial trauma and historical trauma and what all of that means in the context of like the research that we do in the lab. And I was just so engrossed in the conversation that I completely forgot that I was recording a vlog today and wanted to record some of that for y'all. So that didn't happen. And then now I'm remembering, even though I said I was going to continue scoring after the lab meeting, I have a video to edit for the channel. And I would very much like to get that done before the weekend because I don't want to spend my Saturday and or Sunday editing a video. So with that being said, I am probably going to end the vlog here. Maybe if I get done editing the video fast enough and it's not like super late in the day, I will continue scoring and I'll come back. But if not, I'm going to end the vlog here and just like stitch this into a video. I've been like recording random bits of my day for the past like week or so. So we'll see like how many days I end up actually using because some of them were quite dull and boring. But yeah, either way, this will be a part of a larger vlog that, that takes place over the course of a couple of days or a few days. So with that being said, thank you for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. I truly appreciate it. Leave me a comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. My little comment thingy question that I almost forgot again. Let's see. All right. What do I want to ask y'all? Tell me in the comments if you had unlimited resources to research something that you are interested in, assuming that those of you who watch me intend on going on to PhD programs in which you will have to do research. And just because I just got out of my lab meeting, that's kind of what's on my mind right now. If you had unlimited resources to do research on anything that interests you, what would that be and why? What does it mean to you? As y'all know, or I think y'all know, I don't really know if I've talked about this, I research intergenerational trauma and racial trauma in Black families. I do qualitative research, so rather than just sending out surveys and getting a bunch of numbers, I actually interview people. I talk to them, I talk to family members, and I hear their stories to better understand what these experiences are for people, how they impact them, how they impact their mental health, how they impact their families. And that's something that I've really been, why is my hand shaking so much? Oh my goodness. And this research really means a lot to me. And I'm hoping if I had unlimited resources, I would want to do this research in my family's home countries, because it's not being done over there, and I feel like this is really important research. So yeah, but anyway, let me know in the comments, answer the question or not. You don't really have to. I just want to like hear about what y'all are interested in. So anyways, finishing off my outro. Where was I? As always, like, comment, subscribe, and click that little notification bell so you don't miss my next upload. And I'll see you in the next one.